And we are here at GDC to talk about Sid Meier's Civilization V. Joining me is not Sid Meier, but it's Pete Murray from Firaxis. Pete, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, thanks.
So you're showing this game off. This is pretty much the first time that you've shown the game in action to people. Is that right?
Yeah, this is we're giving the press their first look here at GDC. We're showing off a lot of the combat and diplomacy changes we have for Civilization V. We're showing people our amazing new world that we've created with our new game engine. And with switching from squares to hexagons, it looks a lot more organic. It looks a lot richer. We're bringing people into the game world in a way we really haven't done before.
You've added two sides and have completely changed the dynamics of Civilization, it seems.
It does. That's probably the biggest change overall. And not only does it give us a really great looking world, but there's some really neat gameplay changes to that as well, too. Movement feels a lot more organic, and switching to hexagons actually removes a lot of the ambiguities of the map. For example, you can have some oddities with land and water interactions. That's cleared up a lot when you switch to hexagons. And again, the art looks absolutely beautiful when you have a world that looks like the kind of thing you fly over.
How much struggling was there internally at Firaxis when it was proposed that we're going to go with hexes this time? Or was that something that after Civ 4 was like, this is the logical progression, this is where we need to go?
You know, the switch to hexes was probably one of the first changes implemented for the game. John Schaefer, who's the lead designer, was a big fan of the PC game Panzer General. And that's a 1 unit per tile, hex-based. And he'd played it for hours, and he's always said that was something he wanted to see in a game of Civilization. We've been really happy with the way it's worked out in the game, and from the reception we've gotten from our fans, we think they're excited about it too.
For full disclosure here, say that I've never played a full, proper Civilization game. Sorry. However, played Civ Rev and really enjoyed that. Like it was a great introduction to the style of turn-based gameplay that is Civilization. Anything from Civ Rev specifically that's kind of snuck its way into Civ 5?
Civ Rev was important because it taught us a lot about how to create a user interface that took all of the seas of information you have in a game like Civ and show it to players in ways that they can control it with a gamepad, so they have the most salient information right at their fingertips. So we've really taken those lessons and created an interface that really improves the accessibility of Civilization 5. So whether you're coming to us from Civ 4, you'll very quickly see what the differences are in the gameplay. Or if you're coming from Civ Rev, we think we've got an interface that'll allow you to manage the complexity that you'll have in a game like Civilization 5.
Because it seems like just, adding more to what was already in Civ 4, already a fairly complicated game, is not going to necessarily make it better. You have to kind of find different directions and refine some stuff instead.
Civilization is always about achieving balance between the different elements. If you push any one element too hard, other parts of the games lapse. You don't want to just make it a war game. You don't want to make it a cultural simulator. You want to provide a balance between the different styles of gameplay within a Civilization game. And so we'll be talking more about how we're achieving that balance as we get closer to a launch date in fall.
One of the things that we saw here today when you were demoing the game was the leaders are more fleshed out. You see them as actually polygonal models in a real place. They speak in their native tongues. Any new leaders being added to the mix? Because there's definitely kind of the stock Civilization leaders that have been in the games through the years. Anything you want to talk about now?
You'll recognize some of the leaders. Some of the leaders will be new and surprising and hopefully interesting and informative to people. John Schaefer, the designer, is a history major, so he's really reached back into history and he's found leaders who he thinks represent the cultures well from a variety of aspects.
Abe Lincoln.
We had George Washington today. We like to think we've covered the President's Day weekend pretty well.
Fair enough. Thank you for giving me at least that. So far, obviously, you guys are still developing the game. This is still coming together, but what have been like the shortest and the longest matches that you've borne witness to so far?
Well, shortest would be when you just start up the game to play it and then something comes up and you have to close it down real quick. Those may be the shortest, although we'll have a variety of map sizes and game speeds to play on. Some of that will be familiar to you if you've played Civilization 4. If you want to play a game that feels like it's stretching over the course of history, that will certainly be an option for you.
Excellent. Well, we're looking forward to seeing more of this. Pete, thank you so much for your time.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.